the first to know in Nsem-Pii TV.
I was for Bernard Ahiafor. You name say or no, and the first deputy speaker of the 9th Parliament. Oh, my Ghana muha. Na ye kohwe the appointment committee. No, I also so anana a chef. Na ene, in fact, ne ho awusu ye papa. All because of chaos via a course so ewo abrekuwa na vetting committee no. Ishia nominees na omo veti womo. That same very day na veti Sam George. Na to say expecting kebe vete okuje tu ablakwa no. Yenye ni chaos via a course of that night. Na in fact, eno ana parliament share say ene sa dia ebe hwehwemu afa sa chaos here a course wo eho. Na ene the special committee omo investigating over this chaos a course so appointment committee no ene nominees no omo chamber ho no. In fact, course na eno no mato nsafre Bernard Ahiafor as a chair say omra na omra me fera no disem emetudwa na ene de ene ne ho awoso ye papa no krani ni Honorable Alexander Afenyo Markin ene MPP minority caucus of parliament ana kan chamber no ehona na se committee no ehono. In fact omo ho assign because Bernard Ahiafor yenye ni twa se emra na vetting no ekoso no the we no be underrating anase undermine the minority caucus no anase minority side no eno ana empanifo e se account for sa chaos no na ne de the special committee omo this investigation no atu form no omo di blame no nyina ama Bernard Ahiafor fi say want to tunu niam ye the shadows bi o ho a wa nya ye eno ne komba ema sa chaos a course ewo vetting committee no appointment committee no aside no etimi course me pese beje bre ne kwa kotie ensem a vetting committee no omo chair Bernard Ahiafor appear before the special committee a omo investigating over the chaos at the appointment committee no omo chamber no said ye esi etie.
Mr. Chairman, this is the first time you are chairing a committee in this house, is that correct?
No, that is not correct, because I entered Parliament in 2013 and the very first post I was given was the Vice Chairman for the Judiciary Committee, and I have occasion of chairing the Judiciary Committee. Then in my second term, I became the Vice Chairman for the Subsidiary Legislation Committee, and you are aware that I've also been chairing the Subsidiary Legislation Committee. Then I became a ranking member for Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee. So this is actually not my first experience chairing, but this is my first experience chairing the Appointment Committee.
Yeah, but what you said, the explanation you've given me, says that you are advised to some committees, but this is the first time you are chairman of a committee. Is that correct?
No, I was vice chairman for Judiciary Committee in my first term. So I had the opportunity to chair in the absence of the chairman. Then in my second
chairing
term,
a committee, but being holding the position of a chairman of a committee, this is the first time, because you were vice chair. I'm not saying this is the first experience of chairing a meeting.
well, your word used is that this is your first time of chairing a committee. Chairing a committee is one thing, and holding the position of a chairman of a committee is another thing.
Okay, so I'm asking the fact that this is the first time you are holding the position of a chairman.
Exactly so.
Right. Would you agree with me from your narrative that prior to when the Thursday meeting, you were prejudiced against the minority?
It is far from that.
Why did you say we should
not.
go and look at their faces on the Tuesday proceedings?
Well, the whole thing emanated from Tuesday, and the actual rioting started on that Tuesday. I said so because over the publication, we have taken a decision at conclave to deal with the issue. So I was highly surprised that we resolved that at conclave. then we'll come to the sitting. And a member at conclave will be hitting the table that there will be no vetting. There will be no vetting. There will be no vetting. That is why I'm saying that I am surprised about certain turn of event. Because for me, if I agree to do something with you, why would I change my mind all of a sudden and come and be doing something different?
Yeah, I think you have said so, that you are a man of your own words. You don't want you to be taken unaware of the things that you've agreed on from the onset. And so maybe my vice chair will be guided as he asks the next question.
I know Bernard very well. You said along the line, minority leader called, you received a phone call that Honorable Akando should be added to the list of the nominees that we're going to engage on Thursday. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm speaking on oath, and this is confirmed.
I have no reason to doubt you.
Yes.
My next question is that when
yes, let me conclude my answer. Yes, and this was followed by his directive to the minority whip, who also called the clerk of the committee that Akando should be added.
Now, when you received this call, did you inform the rest of the committee members that you were going to deal with Honorable Akando on that day?
Well, thank you very much. We have chairman and we have ranking. And you know, chairman leads the majority side and ranking leads the minority side. So what I did was to inform my members in the morning that Akando will be added. And then properly, the minority leader also communicated with his members, leading to the minority whip placing a call to the clerk of the committee.
Mr. Chairman, did you find out whether the minority side had been communicated to so far as this additional nominee was concerned?
Well, I do not expect to reach an agreement with the minority leader, out of which the minority whip will call the clerk, and the rest of the members may not be aware. But I'm not in a position to tell whether the other two have been informed, because there were 4 on the committee. So 2 was involved. So it's left with the other 2.
Mr. Chairman, with a little patience, the scaffold that we witnessed could have been prevented. You agree with me on that?
100%.
Now, the case of the minority was that they were being surprised. Were you surprised to hear that they were being ambushed?
I will be highly surprised. Highly, highly surprised.
Severally, you mentioned...
I said so because some of the changes that were made, the minority leader and the whip has instances of making their input on the table. And maybe probably the clerk of the committee will be able to produce that particular record, because when we agreed, then I would then instruct the clerk that this is what we have agreed upon. So the clerk should have some of those arrangements that were altered by ticking and cancellation. And they can subject it to a forensic to establish that it is in the handwriting of the minority leader and sometimes the whip, the minority whip.
You have said repeatedly that you had gone into conclave with the committee. How many people did you agree to vet on that Thursday?
That Thursday, original list that was not altered was 3. But because we didn't work on Wednesday, the agreement was that they should merge the two. And after merging the two, we realized that it is 8. I will not be able to do the 8. So we've taken a decision to do the first 5. And there was a follow-up call that we should add Akando, making 6.
So what about Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa? He was supposed to be the 7th person?
Honorable members, Okujeto Ablakwa was one of the original people to be vetted on Thursday. So if you see his letter slated Thursday.
Honorable First Deputy Speaker, you just mentioned that during your conclave meetings, you've agreed to add Honorable Akando. That will make it 6. And so, Honorable Okujeto, even though he has original letter slated for Thursday, because the committee agreed.
First Deputy Speaker and Chairman of the committee. From the account that you have given, I think that there is a big problem about scheduling and then being firm about your scheduling. Would you want to agree with me that this whole problem came about as a result of the decision you took not to vet nominees who were scheduled for Wednesday? And you knew very well that these nominees had invited people, chiefs, their friends, their relatives, and whatnot. And yet, the committee was persuaded by the minority not to carry out vetting. And that is what actually created the congestion and the subsequent challenges that we have. I believe that.
Thank you very much for your question. I understand the impulse of your question. Any reasonable person, guided by all those considerations that regulate the conduct of human affairs, would agree that we should deal with the issue affecting our image before continuing the vetting. And honorable members, on that Wednesday, I was with the view that we should deal with the issues relating to Oliver Baker-Vomawo. Then we can continue the vetting. If we are not able to exhaust all of them that day, then the backlog will be very, very few. But the posture was not favorable. Remember, I told the committee that when our attention was drawn to the post on Tuesday, our friends from the minority have already taken a decision that there would be no vetting until that issue was resolved. That was the reason for me asking the committee to take a look at the proceedings on Tuesday, particularly the time that we had to start the vetting on Tuesday. A lot of negotiation had gone into continuing the proceedings even on that Tuesday. So we were not successful in agreeing to do the vetting on Wednesday. And that has accounted largely to the backlog. So I will not say it has not contributed to the incidents, it has contributed to the incidents.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My question is a twofold question. My first question is, at any point when the situation deteriorated, did you call for order? That's the part A. And, okay, first, that's the first question.
Yes, I did. You can hear me shouting, order, let there be order, honorable members, let there be order, let there be order. So I was trying to restore order when word was said in tree, as a moon tree cables. No, I'm not good at tree. So immediately that has been said, they started pulling the cables, and my microphone was disconnected, and no matter how I shout, nobody can hear me.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My second question is, at any point after you tried to call for order and that was not happening, did you attempt to suspend the sitting of the committee?
Well, at that point, I really do not see the need. I thought by saying order, order, and engaging the minority leader and the ranking member on the side as to what has really changed, resulting into this. I thought the two of us could resolve it among ourselves and proceed to conduct the vetting. So whilst that engagement was going on between me and the minority leader, the three word came and they started pulling the cables, and the whole thing just started. I do not know whether the rest of the minority members were having the feelings that my engagement with the minority leader would result into a calm and the proceedings ongoing, and that word spilled out and the whole thing became uncontrollable. I believed a little patience would have resolved the issue between me and the minority leader, but he also didn't have.
Thank you. So just to make sure, you did not call for a suspension of the sitting. Very well. My final question is, at any point, did the marshals enter the committee room on your instruction? Or did you call for the marshals to enter?
Yes, I asked my usher to bring in the marshal because I sit as a chair with my ears widely open.